So here we have a question about a pollen sample that weighs 12 grams. And it contains an awful lot of pollen grains, 1.5 times 10 to the power 9 pollen grains. We have to calculate the weight of one pollen grain and give our answer in scientific notation. Now, for the sake of understanding what's going to go on here, suppose we only had 3 pollen grains. Huge they are, and they weigh 12 grams. How would you find the weight of one? Well, you'd divide by 3, you'd find a third of that 12 and get 4 grams. Each of them would weigh 4 grams. So that tells you what to do with the numbers, 12 divided by 3. So that's the same here. Instead of 3 pollen grains, we've got 1.5 times 10 to the power 9. That number of pollen grains weighs 12 grams. So one pollen grain would weigh 12 divided by 1.5 times 10 to the power 9 grams. So that's the calculation that we have to do. And we're in paper 2, we have a calculator. We should be doing calculations on our calculator just to make sure we get things totally right. This can be done without a calculator, as I'll show you shortly. So the simplest and easiest method is just to enter the numbers as they are, 12 divided by. Now there's a problem. How do we enter 1.5 times 10 to the power 9 on the calculator? The secret is to use the EE button. It's either EE, on a lot of calculators it's EXP. And what this button means basically is times 10 raised to a power. In fact, some calculators have that as the button that you would press. So, using it, 12 divided by 1.5 times 10 to the power, that's the EE button or the X button, and then a 9. And there it is, 8. And then this little E, it will be slightly different. Some calculators actually write times 10 to the power, and then there's a negative 9 there. But that's how you'd interpret this. 8 times 10 to the power negative 9 grams. So that's our answer. So that's one method of doing it. Another method is to say, well, look, it's 12 divided by 1.5. Let me put this away. But remember, there's an index law that says if you have a to the minus n, a negative power, that means 1 over a to the positive power. For instance, 2 to the negative 3 is 1 over 2 cubed. Or reversing that, if you have a fraction, if you're dividing by 2 to the power positive 3, that can in effect go up to the top of the fraction and the index 3 becomes negative. A to the power n can nip up to the top of the fraction and become negative power. So the 10 to the power 9 can nip up to the top and become 10 to the power negative 9. 12 divided by 1.5, there's a great way of doing that without a calculator. Why don't we double top and bottom? 24, double 1.5, you get 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So it's 8 times 10 to the negative 9, which just confirms the answer we got there. So either with the calculator, which in the exam would be the much more sensible method, or without a calculator. In this case, you can do it without a calculator.